Well, hello and welcome to the About Small Business podcast. This is episode 11 of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you are enjoying what you're doing, please could you like and subscribe to the podcast just to get updates of whenever there's a new episode. And this week's episode, I'm actually talking to Sarah Defty of Lilydale Pet Supplies and the Old Ice Cream Shop. I'm particularly excited to be filming from the Old Ice Cream Shop. It is amazing. You have to come here. It's got all the old world feel about it. It's just brilliant. And between you and me, my type 2 diabetes is probably going to be on the risk again because the ice cream's amazing. They've got a selection of sweets which are absolutely fantastic. Sarah, thanks very much for joining us. So basically, the first business that I was aware of that you had in Lanchester was Lilydale Pet Supplies. Is that correct?
It is.
Now, I've got to be honest, I'm not a pet person, but I am aware of your amazing window displays. And they're famous throughout the village of Lanchester.
Thank you.
Can you tell me just a little bit how you got started in the pet supplies business?
Well, we had the opportunity to buy Lilydale Pet Supplies in April 2020. It was the beginning of COVID. Margaret and Dave, who'd had the business for about 25 years, chose to retire at that time. So we took on the business.
Sorry, was that before COVID?
It was right at the beginning. It was April 2020.
You chose to buy a business at the beginning of COVID?
So I was homeschooling 4 children, and my husband came in and he says, I've bought a pet shop.
That's brave.
It was a whirlwind.
That's brave.
So we're classed as essential. So we're open through every lockdown.
Right.
But we were needed, we were wanted. We were doing deliveries to the vulnerable who didn't want to leave their houses. When people were allowed out for the walk, they would pop in. There was the puppy boom. Everybody bought a dog. So we thrived in lockdown.
That's amazing. Because I think possibly, I've done, as I said, this is the 11th edition, as people know. Practically every other business that I've spoken to were kind of in panic.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to hear that you were thriving, but as you said, everyone buying pets, that does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So what were you doing? Let's go back further then. What were you doing before?
I worked for my family, which was ice cream.
Right.
Me and my husband both did that, so it was kind of like a side step.
Right, okay, and because I'm aware there's some history about this place, the Old Ice Cream Shop, which I would like to get on back to later. Can we go back further than that and actually sort of go back right as far as school? How did you get on at school? Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Were you a slut?
No, I wouldn't say that. But working for the family was all I knew. It was what I did every weekend. It was what I did every school holiday.
Right, okay.
And then me and my husband Liam got together at about 16. We were married at, I was a young bride. I was married at 20. So it was just, I'm a very family orientated person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always have been if you're working for your family. So.
I was very happy doing that.
Right, okay. So and that was all in the ice cream, the sweet business?
Yes.
Right, fantastic. So did you do fairly well at school?
Did I do fairly well at school?
Was it
I failed maths. I
Right.
can't believe I'm saying that. I did fail maths. I've got mental arithmetic's fine, but everything else not so good.
Was that a problem given that you were working for your family, or were you just able to leave
No,
school?
it wasn't a problem. I'll be honest with you, I didn't have any desire to go to college. I just wanted to make money. And it's probably not something that I would choose for my children. But I was quite headstrong and I just wanted to make my own money.
Can I ask you why you wouldn't choose that for your children?
I think I was probably robbed of a social life because you're expected to work every weekend. So when my friends were going for days out on a Saturday and Sunday, I was expected to work.
Right.
It was just expected of you. So, but then when I had my first child, that changed, and I will take days off, and it's all about getting the right sort of balance. Yes.
It's interesting because out of the number of these that I've done, whenever I talk about family life balance, invariably it's the women that are talking about that. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's just life, or?
No, it's just you work so hard and you're trying to make it, you're trying to get to the top of the mountain, but you've got to enjoy the journey.
Wise words. That's it. And certainly that is something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs that I've spoken to agree. It's not kind of a destination.
Yeah, no. And then sometimes you do get to the destination, but then you're like, oh, what's a little bit further?
Yeah.
So it never ends,
And
but
is
that's what
that-
keeps
is that the
life
motivation
exciting.
for this?
Absolutely.
Right.
My husband never stops. He's always, I don't think he'll ever sit still. There's always something else, something else, something else. But I do that, I admire that of him.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly a shared work ethic.
Yes,
Drilled into you from childhood.
Yes,
And do you, I mean, just mentioning your family, do you find that's rubbing off on your kids?
Maybes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You think that's
You can't avoid them turning, everyone turns into the parents to some respect.
Yeah, how do you think they'll feel about that?
I think they're proud, but I just, I want to push their hobbies as much as I can.
That's brilliant. I mean, from a personal point and reflecting on my own childhood, I can't imagine any greater desire than owning your own sweet and ice cream shop. I think that's
It's a happy job. It is a happy job.
It is, and as I say, I know since you've opened this place, there's been queues down the street and everything. So that's
Well, it's new, but I do hope that it has longevity.
so. Working for your parents, then, what kind of jobs were you doing at that young age?
Serving ice cream. We had the ice cream and sweet concessions at Beamish Museum for a long, long time. We lost that franchise when my daughter was 2, so that was probably about 10 years ago now.
Was that quite stressful?
Stressful. Well, it was every day bar Christmas Day. The museum was open, so we took it very seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
and making the sweets as well.
Right,
Yeah.
so you actually manufacture the sweets.
Yes, we did.
And I think certainly a lot of people will have.
Me and my husband were both. I can still remember my spiel now.
Go on, give us a.
Today we're making rhubarb and custard. All that's in the pan is 10 pounds of granulated sugar, 5 pounds of glucose syrup and a litre of water. It's been boiled to a temperature of 156 degrees centigrade. It goes on, and then you just talk how you pour it in between 2 retaining bars. It's on a cooling table. You'll add your flavours, your colourings, your citric acid, cut the mixture down the middle. You've got to pump air into the custard side to make it a solid colour. You'd layer the 2 on top and then you feed it through the drop rollers.
I'm fascinated by that because, I mean, quite late in life, I do enjoy cooking and recipes. And that really has been instigated by the internet and seeing things on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels. Obviously, presumably these recipes are from your parents.
Oh, no, these, they're from the early 1900s. It's very, very simple to make boiled sweets. Cinder toffee is exactly the same ingredients, but you're adding bicarbonated soda.
How did they come by that information, though? How did they find that out?
In books. I mean, the ice cream side, I will say it was, we adopted that trade. My great-great-uncle was shown by an old Italian ice cream maker, and he had his own factory in Anfield Plain. He was the first. So this is the old ice cream shop, but our family business is King's Cafe. So he had the King's Cafe was a physical shop in front of the King's Picture House in Anfield Plain.
Is that the ice cream making now?
It is.
That's it. We'll just warn you, we are in a working shop. They're making the ice cream, so we will apologise. Hopefully some of our sound reduction will cut that out, but that's fine. So sorry, carry on with it.
So he was the first King's Cafe in Anfield Plain. So you would come and you would have your ice cream, your sweets and everything before you went to the picture house. And then there was 3 other brothers that had shops in different areas. We were from the Whiteley Head area. And my granddad took on the mobile side of the business. So they've always had a fleet of about 7 ice cream vans.
Wow.
So in my dad's prime, pork on the street was very lucrative. You would go to the ice cream van to get your cigarettes, your pint of milk, your bread, as well as ice cream and sweets. So again, you were needed, you were providing a service. And then when the hawk on the streets wasn't wasn't doing so well, they went on to site work where you would you bid to the council, you get accessibility to be on parks. So he's at Chester Park, Herrington, Saltwell.
Right. Okay. So just with you mentioning about the good, because I remember as a child many years ago, and the ice cream man came round,
Yes.
and everyone went and nagged the parents incessantly, and then went just to queue up and like sort of fighting over. Kids, if kids whose parents said no, were asking about broken cornets and things.
Yeah.
And so what changed? Because you mentioned after the hawk in the streets, what changed? Why?
I don't know. Maybe supermarkets, shops. It's just things change, and you've got to adapt to times.
Yeah. And so and the way you did that was to look for events.
So and site work.
And that seems to be certainly popular now. I mean, there's we've got lots of events going on, festivals and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I mean, as far as I'm aware, that's not a route that you've chosen for this place, or could that be something on the horizon for you?
No, I think I'm happy with the shop.
Happy with the shop.
Yeah.
In terms of where you got from, so we're starting a Farmfield Plain. Was Beamish your? How did you get into Beamish? Because you mentioned about like sort of.
Well, it certainly wasn't me. It was that was my dad's life work, and I believe he had an ice cream van at Foulbridge, which is like part of the museum. It's an area.
Right.
And then it went on to having a 1912. It was originally a horse-drawn cart trailer. It used to be at the quayside in Newcastle. It was one of two made. It's absolutely beautiful. So they had that in the town, and then they had an old Bedford van down in the colliery village where they would serve our homemade vanilla ice cream from. And then when the sweet shop was built in the town, we got the chance to run that. But then...
Were you approached?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
I was tiny. I might not have even been born. But yeah, they carried on. So they ran the sweet shop for many years, and it was a full family business.
Yeah.
I worked there. My husband worked there. My uncle, my aunt, mum, dad.
So was your husband? Were they family friends or?
I met my husband because his dad worked for my dad.
Right. Okay. So boss's daughter.
That's it.
So, all right. So, I mean, and you both have that great work ethic. How do you feel about working together and managing, obviously, your marriage, your relationship?
It can be heavy at times, and most arguments are caused by money worries because it's not always easy. It's not a bed of roses.
No.
But we're a good team.
Yeah, that's brilliant to hear. I mean, to be fair, the money worries, I'm not sure that's necessarily exclusive to working together, but I suppose it's just
that's what causes most arguments.
Yeah, that's
because it's a worry.
It is. I think certainly that at the moment that a lot of families can sympathise with that. But you work together really well, and are you getting your kids helping out?
They like to. Tommy likes to man the till, and Neve, when she's not eating ice cream, she likes to help too.
So they're both happy to sample the.
Oh yes, definitely.
Fantastic. Did they have the same enthusiasm for the pet shop?
Yeah, definitely.
And because I think
they like to be there.
Your daughter's into horses, isn't she?
Yes, very much so.
What about your son? Is he?
He's more sporty. He's an animal person, and he's a great jockey. He just chooses not to go.
Right, so just sort of naturally sporty, and I suppose that can obviously lend itself to the riding. Right, so what was it? You just saw the opportunity for Lilydale, and then thought, right, we're going for it.
Yeah.
And how long has Lilydale been around before you took it?
I'm sure 25 years.
25 years. So that's quite big shoes to walk into.
That's exactly how I felt. Yes.
And I mean,
I did used to do dog grooming.
Right.
So when I trained and got my certificates for that, you need to know the anatomy, all of the ins and the outs, and the nutrition, and so I did know. Like, I wasn't going in totally blind.
Was that a business that you had separately to working for your parents?
It was like a sideline. It was more of a hobby. But the grooming, you know, it's labour intensive and it's, you know,
So in a lot of ways, obviously,
it was definitely just a hobby. I couldn't have done that full time.
No?
No.
Why is that?
Your back, for one reason, you're leaning over a grooming table for, like, you know, all day. It's strenuous. You're lifting heavy dogs. A lot of them aren't well behaved.
So in terms of your grooming business, would you say that gave you much experience that you could perhaps use
Yes.
in terms of the pet supplies? What main lessons did you get from the grooming, would you say?
Well, brushes, shampoos, all of your accessories, where to buy what. Nutrition has a huge factor on a dog's coat. So what they eat, their eating habits, worming, flea treatments. Grooming and pet supplies go hand in hand. They really do.
So you were able to buy that, and you could see, right, okay, I can see where the market is. Presumably at some point you would have been that market, so you were your typical customer.
Yeah, so as a groomer, I used to thoroughly enjoy going to Crufts, and you go around all of the stores and you see all of, you know, the things that are stocked now. They would all be there.
So this is about a passion then?
Yeah, I think it is a passion, definitely.
For the pet side of things, and then that sort of nostalgic feel of the ice cream shop. So what made you, I mean, the pet supply's been doing well for 3-4 years?
4 years coming up.
4 years.
Yeah.
What made you decide the time was right to continue what's in essence kind of the...
We had the opportunity to buy the building in 2022.
Right.
So this, where we're sitting now, was the flat above's utility. So I had to apply for change of use, change of purpose from residential to commercial.
So were you leasing the...
Yes.
Right, okay, so you had the opportunity to buy.
Yeah. So we've since refurbished the flat above into a holiday let. And then we've got the sweet shop in its utility, and we've still got the pet shop. So hopefully the three will support each other in good times and bad.
Right.
Because this is going to be seasonal. You know, people only buy ice cream when the sun shines. But hopefully they'll all support each other.
Oh, fantastic. And so there's a holiday let as well?
Yes.
Right, okay. So, are there many holiday lets around this area?
I think there is, but there's still a need. It's a lovely area. You're 8 miles from Durham.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we get university parents where they'll say, come up and stay us and bring the dog. I haven't seen them for ages, because we are pet friendly.
I suppose you have to be, really, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't not be. You know, there's lovely wedding venues around here.
Yeah.
It's really picturesque. You've got some great cycle routes. You've got like great walks, like all nearby. We're very lucky.
It is. I mean, it is a lovely village. Obviously,
It is.
Myself, and no, that's a. So, was it? Because you don't live actually in the village.
I don't, but I'd love to.
Tempted to live above.
Well, I have 2 biological children, but I'm also special guardian to my twin nieces, so we can't all fit in there.
Right,
There's 6 humans, 2 dogs. It's not big enough.
No,
I need somewhere bigger.
That's fine.
If I could pick my house up and move it down here, I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's but I suppose, as you say, with the I mean, are you ready to start taking bookings on the holiday?
Yeah, it's live now. It's on
live now.
booking.com and it's on cottages.com.
Right, okay, what made you choose those two?
Booking.com was something that we use.
Yeah.
So, and then cottages.com are, they will use all of the platforms anyway, but they try and give you a 4-day booking, which is a better turnaround for us, rather than somebody stopping a night and then having to do the turnaround.
Right. I suppose that given that you work in below, it makes that a little bit easier, I suppose, to manage. Right, okay. So, I mean, in terms of your next project, have you got something in mind? Are you thinking, right, the holiday let's looking promising, we're probably going to look to put our energies into that, we can maybe sort of franchise out the pet, I don't know, what are your thoughts at the minute?
Just working them, really.
Consolidate what's going on. I mean, there's a lot there, to be fair.
It is.
But no, that's brilliant. So, in terms of, so we've got the sweet shop's a new business. So far, so good.
Yes.
It's relatively young. The pet shop, leap of faith, or were you really confident?
I've still got a lot of love for the pet shop. I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to be successful?
I was worried. Um, but I love it now.
Out of you and your husband, which one's the worrier?
Me.
You. Is he just head down and get stuck in, or
Yeah.
and deals with it that way? And that's probably why it works as a team. No, fantastic. So I mean, in terms of the like, because a lot of your businesses, all three of your businesses, they're quite hands-on. How do you manage that sort of? Because I mean, I've met both of you kids, two of your kids today, and there's clearly a good relationship there. You've said that whilst, like any couple, there are arguments, there seems to be a good relationship with your husband. How do you what do you do when it's time off? How do you manage that sort of family time?
I like to book holidays. I always like having something to look forward to, go places.
Yeah.
We're sociable people. We like going out with friends.
Do you use other holiday letters like elsewhere in this country, or do you like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And is that what gave you the idea?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and just because I don't think the effort that we've put into that, you know, I've done it to very, very high standards, and I wasn't ready to completely let it go. I know that sounds a bit selfish, but I didn't want a long-standing tenant. I wanted,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. No.
I wanted to
that's fine.
still have control of it.
I mean, certainly there are issues with private rented sector at the minute, which you probably don't want to be. Want to be able to avoid that if possible. I mean, do you use Airbnb at all? Is that something you've?
It's live on Airbnb through cottages.com, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yes.
They are like your host.
Right, I get you. So that's just, I know that's obviously probably, it's not one I use a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm obviously aware of it, and it seems to be what a lot of people are going for holiday cottages. No, that's great. So so basically, you've got you're juggling a family, three businesses, and clearly you've said you did mention earlier on that there are some arguments, but how do you I mean, in terms of it can be quite lonely as an entrepreneur.
Hello, you're all right. Oh, delivery. Do us a favour, could you put it in the pet shop just for now?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I can cut that out.
Brilliant.
So, you've got your family around you, and I know certainly a lot of entrepreneurs can feel quite lonely. Do you find that's not really an issue for you with your family there, or
No, I don't feel lonely, not at all.
so? So, where do the areas of stress come from? Because you mentioned earlier on the finances are always
Yeah.
ever there. Is that the main source of stress, and just that
I think so, yeah.
the just a lack of certainty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What bill you're going to pay next, what order you're going to put in next, and how to juggle it all, and yeah,
With that, are you finding it's easier with the three?
absolutely.
Yeah, because you've got that coming in, right? So that's something.
You can juggle it, you know.
Yeah. So would you want anyone else in business that's maybe sort of just got the one iron in the fire at the minute? Would
Yeah.
you be advising them
Yeah, I think I would.
expand?
100%. Yes.
Right.
And don't be frightened. It is frightening, but just try not to be.
Take a leap of faith.
Yes.
So. What gave you that confidence to do that though?
Just positivity.
Positive.
Yeah.
Positive mental attitude.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I think you need as an
It's
entrepreneur.
like the law of attraction, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, things are going quite well, all three business. Touch wood, that's the way it continues.
Yes.
Well, what's a typical day look like for you then?
Make sure that the pet shop opens at 9 o'clock. This opens at 10 in school holidays. When the kids are at school, the hours are 3 to 6. Make sure upstairs is clean and tidy. Check that you've got bookings, answer messages if anybody's messaged the businesses. Delivery days are Wednesdays and Thursdays, as in stock coming into the pet shop. We deliver out on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. we've just decided to open the pet shop 7 days now. So that's going to be open on a Sunday, because I think these two will work quite well. People go out as a family, they'll walk the dog, come and get an ice cream, go and get something for the dog at the pet shop. So hopefully it will be worth it. And yeah, keeps you busy. I've got 2 dogs to walk at home, and Neve's got a horse to see too, and we're busy people.
So it's a full day, very much a full day.
From the minute you get up.
And would you have it any other way?
No.
That's interesting, because I mean, something that I do chat to other entrepreneurs about is retirement. What would that look like for you? Do you think you could?
Actually, funny enough, my husband's got it in his head that he'll retire at 50. Now, he lost his mum. His mum was 50 when she died. It was young.
Right.
So I think that's in his head. It's 50's just it's like a cut-off number for him, you know. I think he'd be relieved when he reaches 51.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what he always says. I'm going to retire at 50.
What would retirement look like, though?
Just time together and start seeing the world.
So more travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's because it's just the reason I asked that, and a lot of people own their own business. It's in many ways it's because it's their passion, and it's what they love. It's kind of, I don't know, when you talk to someone that's employed, who's employed, they haven't got the control. In the same way
No,
that
it's
you
not
have.
that. It's not about your business. I think it's more about your life and the business that you create. It's just a tiny snapshot in time, really. It's all just part of the journey. You know, I'm just enjoying it for now. But if he chooses to retire at 50, then I've got to respect his wishes, and we'll go.
And then you want to spend that time, so absolutely.
Yeah.
And why not? You've worked for it, so obviously you do want to enjoy it. So in terms of just going back to what you were saying about, you've got the 3 businesses, you've acquired them in a relatively short time frame.
Yeah, 4 years.
Managing to make them, and there's a lot of sense in your decisions, and you know there's a clear reasoning. Obviously, you know your business with the pet supplies. You've gone and done that from your experience as a dog groomer. You know the ice cream and sweet business, because that is kind of your
All
life.
in you, yeah.
The holiday let kind of fits in as, I suppose, an opportunity that you've spotted within what you've got. Where might you go next?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided.
Just again,
There'll be something.
There'll be something.
Yeah, there will be something.
Stables.
Oh, that is a big dream, but that's a very expensive dream.
Yeah. It is. One good thing, like if your kids are into horses, they'll never have enough money for drugs.
Hey, God, I know. Definitely not.
It's, one thing I think I probably do need to ask in relation to your ice cream and your sweet shop. In terms of sort of issues with childhood obesity and things like that, how does that affect you, and how do you feel about that?
I think I've got to stay neutral. This is a treat, you know. If someone was to come in every day and get the same order, I might be a bit concerned. The milkshakes we make, they're very, very nice, but I am aware that they're probably very, very calorific. But it's all about self-control.
Ultimately, you're providing a service, and you are providing a treat, a nice treat. And obviously, it's that. And I think that's absolutely fair enough to say self-control. I think that there are possibly some issues like with the bigger chains and their advertising, but for a small business, supporting a small business once in a while, it shouldn't do you any harm. But and I suppose to counter that, you've got your pet shop. Yeah. So you're encouraging people to get a dog and go and walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go.
Fantastic.
Are you doing much online for any of your businesses?
No, I'm a technophobe, so I find social media and running a website it doesn't come natural. I find it really, I'm more hands-on.
Right.
We did look into having a website for the pet shop, but you've got to meet massive targets every month for a delivery service to take you on, and again, it's an uncertainty. So we'd just like to keep it local.
It's an interesting one, that, isn't it? Because like sort of now that obviously people are kind of implying that the web's taking over.
I know, and I don't like it. I think mental health is a big thing these days, and I think it's because you can wake up in the morning, you can do your banking online, you can do your shopping online, you can do everything in front of a screen in half an hour, and then they've got the rest of the day to do what? Where back in the day you've got to go to the shop. In that time you're bumping into people, you're having a chat, that's filling up your cup. You know, the two go hand in hand. I think sometimes relying on a website, it's too easy, and it's not good for people's mental health.
No, absolutely.
I think it's good to go out to the shops, have a chat, bump into people. It's nice.
I think that's a lot of the appeal of Lanchester as a village as well, that it does have that. You've got your fruit and veg shop, butchers.
Exactly.
It's got, your convenience stores like Sparrow and Premier, but then your more specialist shops like obviously this one, even your own handmade shoe shop.
I know.
Up there, and it's. I agree. I mean, in terms of using Lilydale. Do you have a lot of competitors? Let's say I'm not familiar with that industry. Do you have a lot of competitors on?
Well, people will come and they'll put their hands up and they'll say, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but I've just ordered it online." And you can buy anything. We always try to stay under RRP.
Yeah.
And we always try to have everything, the big brands that we do well, we always try to have them in stock. So when you come in...
It must be hard though.
It is hard. Well, you can't. You just don't compete. No. You've got to try and, stick to... There's some firms, and it's good stuff, but it's about having a good relationship. So you take on board companies that have a good relationship with the small independents. Yeah. Exclusive to them, not in supermarkets.
Are there many companies like that?
There is. It's just about finding them.
So there's plenty out there.
Yeah,
if you look for
and
it.
that's what we try to stock.
Right. Okay. Is that exclusive to the pet industry, or do you find it's the same?
I'm not.
Does the ice cream shop, does that work? You able to work with local suppliers?
I do. So we use Cicerelli's gelato. So they're from Blythe.
Oh, right. So all in the northeast.
Yes.
Brilliant. Right. So keeping it local, which is obviously a good thing to do. Do you foresee a time when you're going to have to look at going online, or?
No.
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 You've got faith that people are going to want that one-to-one connection.
Well, yeah.
I think I think a lot of people would like that. I think there's, just with the advent of artificial intelligence, a lot of people are scared that it's gonna, a lot of jobs are gonna fall by the wayside. But I think if you are offering that service and that warm welcome when you go in, the help and the advice, you can't beat that.
No, you can't.
And it is something that is hugely lacking online. If you go on Amazon, you can't get the advice. You maybe start trolling through some reviews, maybe some of which have been put there dubiously. Whereas if you are using a shop like your own, then you've got, at least you can come in, you can get that advice.
Exactly.
So that's brilliant. In terms of the future for you then, what does that look like?
I'm going to enjoy this. I've got, and the kids are going to school in Lanchester. Yeah. So this suits me just fine. When they're finished school, I'll ask us. But for now, this suits me just fine.
In terms of your kids then, would you foresee them, because you mentioned you weren't necessarily encouraging them from working with you in any one of your businesses. When they've finished at school, is that something that you might...
I just want them to stay in education for as long as possible and go out and have fun. And see where that takes them. So
you want them to forge their own way?
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting. So, in terms of advice for would-be entrepreneurs, any pearls of wisdom just from your own journey? Let's go before. What's the biggest can we say mistake, failure, error, the biggest negative you've experienced?
I don't know.
Everything's gone really well so far, and you've...
Oh no, it hasn't at all. But I kind of picked just one. There's loads of negatives.
What about something that's worked really well?
This place, and I would like to mention the windows. So we do fabulous window displays in the pet shop, and it was by accident. So it was back in lockdown. The DH7 community did a scarecrow event.
Yes.
So our first window was a scarecrow. I think it was like a cat walking a dog. It was absolutely balmy, but it was fantastic. So my friend Claire Howe, she's one of the school mums. Neve and her daughter Daisy go to school together. She's very creative. She's absolutely fantastic, and she's done all of the windows with me. So we do big Halloween, big Christmas, and it's just fantastic, and I love doing them with her.
It's certainly talked about. And is that a massive marketing success? I mean, would you say?
No, it doesn't make your tills any better. It's just people in the village like it and are appreciative. Yeah. And you know, when the kids come down and the mum will take a picture of the kids in front of the window, my heart could absolutely burst. Yeah. I think it's fantastic.
It's like your very own Phoenix window display, but in Lanchester.
Yeah.
And it's that's brilliant. So any pearls of wisdom or advice that you'd give to anyone wanting to start on their own?
Just have confidence in yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's clear,
and it's hard. But just you'll be all right.
Put the work in, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Sarah, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed doing the interview.
I have.
I look forward to seeing you again as I come in and put on the calories that I've just burned off at the gym. And I will take personal responsibility. It's an amazing shop. I would recommend anyone comes down and samples it and supports it. It's brilliant. Sarah, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers.